I mean, that's not necessarily to justify, people. I mean, people say, "Oh God, well then Hitler could have went around and said, you know what? I'm perfect. I'm gonna kill all the Jews," and that's not what I'm saying. I mean, it's not that is not to be used as a justification for behavior. It's just information that can allow you to begin to relax and give yourself a break, and not be so hard on yourself. Because a lot of people who are into raw foods and just most diets that are health oriented are really, focused on growing and evolving and improving themselves. And a lot of times those people can just be being very hard on themselves. It's like they don't like some aspect of themselves and they're really trying to shift that. And in a way, that's like a pattern that is not really of assistance to people, because it keeps you locked in things. Because as soon as you judge something as bad, you draw it into your life. So what you resist persists. So it's just, I mean, the main thing is just relax, because there's nothing else to do. I mean, this life is. There's an amazing book out there, Conversations with God. I'd highly recommend. The biggest thing I could recommend anyone could do is read the book Conversations with God. Much more so than any raw food information, That book is amazing. If you read that book, it'll change your life.
So we should do an interview on that rather than this raw food thing.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting off track. I can't help but just talk about what's important to me.
This is so good to hear this. I enjoy this very much.
Yeah.
If following your line of thought a little bit, if you were so inclined to pursue a raw food diet, and you are somebody who is prone to emotional and mental problems, would that, and you follow that inclination to pursue a raw food diet, would you assume that eating the raw food diet could assist in the lessening of those problems? You do hear all the time about how raw foods really can help with the diseases and the illnesses that people have.
Right.
And so.
We're talking on a physical, or I'm sorry, at a mental and emotional level here, as opposed to a physical. Or we're talking about a physical as well. Just any.
We're also interconnected.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great question. The first thing I would say that has to happen when someone's got an ailment or something out of balance in their body or their emotions or their mind is to just accept the presence of whatever that is and actually send it love, and stop necessarily trying to get rid of it. Because if something's in your life that's stressing you out or creating problems on some level, it's there, it's as your teacher. And not that it's necessarily easy to do, and it's important to do, to see your distress as an opportunity for growth. And, maybe where you need to grow is with your diet. Maybe you've been eating tons of heavy food to stuff emotions, because when your stomach's full of food, all your blood's going to your stomach, so there's none running around up here in your brain, or there's less, and so whatever emotions you were feeling have been dulled. So maybe that's what your thing is. You've been just stuffing your emotions, not allowing yourself to feel your emotions fully by eating tons of heavy food. And your soul's saying, you know what, enough is enough. It's time to move in the direction of eating more healthy food. And so for that person, if they may read a book that they find out about raw foods and they start to feel excited about it and enthusiastic, and they say, I'm going to try this out. And sure enough, they start to try it out, and they start meeting people who are doing it and have had good results. And for a person like that, I would say most likely they're going to solve their problem with raw foods, because moving into raw foods is consistent with the next step they need to take in their life, which is stop stuffing their emotions with food. However, if someone's issue is, if someone's physical issue is being created by something else, some other aspect of their being that's out of balance, that's not really related to their diet, then a raw foods diet is probably not going to help them very much, because it's not really addressing the underlying cause of the ailment. A lot of people in the raw foods movement talk about diet as being the underlying cause.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about, if you are eating food that is, impure, then you're creating toxicity in your body, and then that toxicity eventually manifests into disease, and that's the underlying cause of disease, is toxicity in the body, which is being created by diet. And I would say that the underlying cause of disease is not necessarily related to diet. It's related to some way that it's related to your consciousness, basically. All disease is created in your consciousness. And, you can shift the disease by changing your diet in some cases, if your diet is related to the issue that is the underlying cause of a disease. If the diet is not related to your issue, you're not going to be able to shift it with diet necessarily. You may help it a little bit, but you're going to need to go to the core of the issue. You may need to let go of anger that you have towards someone that you're holding on to. You may need to honor yourself as a creative being and stop going into jobs that are sort of mindless, drudgery type jobs, because you're afraid that you're not going to be able to pay the bills. If you follow your heart and start to get into creative things like photography, or interviewing people on camera, and creating television shows, or if the bottom line is we all have a lot of things that are somewhat out of balance in our lives. It's part of being human, and the issues are different for everyone. And for some people, diet can be the key that unlocks the puzzle. For others, diet's not going to do it. So you just need to be open to whatever information you need to heal yourself of whatever you're dealing with. And the bottom line is, it's going to come from here. I mean, the answers come from here. The healing comes from here. Everything comes from here. Everything we need is in here. And when we begin to realize who we are, that we're God, it's just like, well, okay. You begin to put your attention on your inner power, and you begin to say, okay, what do I need to heal myself? What do I need to move forward in this area of my life? And then you relax, because you know who you are. You're like, man, I'm God. And when I want to move in a particular direction, everything is going to be drawn to me that I need to move in that direction. So the answers are coming. As soon as you make that turn and shift your attention within and begin to say, okay, I know who I am. This is the direction I want to move. This is my intent. And then you hold your attention on your inner power, and you begin to you just are patient. The answers start to come, and then you begin to say, wow, I am powerful. I mean, I am creating, my reality. I mean, we're all creating our reality here. We're all creating our experience in this life. And, if there's something in our life we're not happy with, then we created it, and we can uncreate it. We need to go to the same place where we're creating that problem, and become conscious of how we're creating it, and begin to then consciously uncreate it. So it's the bottom line is we need to understand who we are, and claim our power, and stop giving our power away to things like food. Although food is important. I mean, it's certainly. I just don't want to make any general statements around food. I feel like raw foods I don't want to get down on raw foods here. I love raw foods. I mean, I feel like raw foods is an amazing way to eat, and I feel like it really supports the health of your body.